I was a training NCO with the 54th Reserve Defence Force. Well, I left school after I did my Leaving Cert, and I worked in a factory that we used to make lighters. In fact, I made the lighter for one of the Bond films, The Man with the Golden Gun, at the time. And then when I went away on holidays. When I came back, then I was told I was made redundant. So I decided I'd go down and join the Navy in Calbrew Barracks in Dublin. And when I got down there, he sent for my friend. The door was actually locked for the Navy. They were gone on a lunch break or something. So this guy came out of the army door and he said, "Do you want to join the army?" So we said okay. So he brought us in, asked us questions and said we'd be in touch with you within 7 or 8 days. And 7 days later I got a phone call, and that was in May '76. I was called in, we were sworn in. What happens is you have to put your hand on the Bible and you sign a piece of paper. Your parents are there and they authorise it. If you're under 18, they have to give you permission. So once I did that, then I was waiting around, and I was taken from there to the Key Barracks in Black Horse Avenue, where I did 16 weeks of recruit training. Didn't get home for 3 weeks. Once I got into that truck, I didn't see my parents for 3 weeks. And I got home then. After the 3 weeks, they allow you to go back home and you get bits and pieces. And once the 16 weeks were up, you pass out as a 2-star. And then after the 2 weeks, you get a week off. And then you come back and you do 7 weeks of your 2 to 3-star course, which is a little bit more advanced on arms drill, foot drill, field craft, different kind of skills and stuff like weaponry and stuff. And once that's over, then you become your 3-star private. Or in my case was the fact that I was with the artillery unit. I had to do a gunnery course, which is, the field weapons you see them fire in Afghanistan. Once I did my gunnery course, which is about 3 weeks in Kildare Barracks, which is called McGee Barracks in Kildare, which is gone now. It's now used by refugees. You go down there for 3 weeks, you do a gunnery course, which is on all the guns we had, the field guns we had, which was 120mm mortar, we had a 25 pounder, and we had a 105 Hauser. And once you do all your stuff on that, you're now a gunner. So I did the gunnery course, and then I decided to become a radio operator. And I did a signals course. Signals course was actually 12 weeks of learning all about HF receivers and two-way systems. Like you had to learn all about how to charge batteries up. They're called accumulator batteries. You have to learn about the back. You've probably seen the army wagons around doing cash escorts. In the back of those, there's all different technology stuff. So you have to learn over the 13 weeks. You learn all that stuff. And my job then was to fit out cars for escorts when I was in the Key. And then in 1981 I came down to Galway on a driver's course because I was moving from Dublin to Galway to live. And when I came down here, I did a 12 weeks driver's course, which was in Melrose Barracks in Galway. And once I had done that, then I was driving that's how I got involved with the FCA, which is now called the Reserve Defence Force. And when I did that, I decided in 1983 to become a non-commissioned officer, which is what NCO means. It's just that you're not making a career out. Officers they go away to college and they become a career, they're commissioned. I'm non-commissioned. So I went away back to Kildare Barracks and I did 6 months in Kildare. And that was basically becoming a corporal and then doing your artillery training for an NCO, like a number 1, which is the guy that actually controls the gun and controls the gun crew. So that all ended in July of that year, in 1983. And then I went back to Galway. And I was in Galway then for a couple of years, and then I decided to do my standard NCO's course, which was to move me up to sergeant. And when I did that, I was 11 weeks in Athlone Barracks doing that. And at the end of the 11 weeks, they decided to bring in a new army weapon, which was the Steyr. It's a new weapon we have now at the moment. And we had to do 7 more weeks on that weapon to learn all about the weapon. And once that was done, that's what I've been there ever since I come back here. I've been training. I was recently left the army there 3 years ago here in Gort, which was training FCA. And that was my job, driving, instructing. The different courses I've done a navigational course, I've done a manual handling instructor's course, I've done a health and safety officer's course. I did, I did a video course one time on how to work the old, you might remember them now, they were the old beta video, the gazettes, that just actually sent us away for 2 weeks to some place now in Dublin to learn all about these new video machines. And that was it. And it's just then I left the army. Then after 36 years, I decided to retire in 2011. I took what we call the Minister's Offer because the Croke Park Agreement was going to go belly up, and I knew. So I retired with a full pension. And now today all I'm doing is driving buses for Garrett Pickett, school bus. I train people for Fit for Life. This kind of keeping feet, couch to 5k, you might have seen posters around the town. I do that as well on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights. I get people up to the level of 3 miles, from walking to 3 miles. And I'm with the South Galway Athletic Club, so I'm one of their coaches as well. So my job is to look after training people, so I do that as well. I had done, as I said, my leaving cert, so I think it's leaving mostly. I think if you have junior cert, you'll get in. The way the army are doing it now at the moment is it's manpower that you actually get onto. You go onto their website, and they take on about 500 every year. And I think that's, as far as I know, that's across the whole country. They take in 500 recruits. But there's an interview process, not like when I joined. When I joined, you just walked in and your name was taken, and 7 days later you were in. Now you're talking about putting your name in, application. Months go by and they'll call you for an interview, then they'll call you again for a second interview. If you don't get the second interview, you're not in. And the thing is like, when you get in too, you're on a 6 weeks kind of assessment. You're put in a section, and the NCO then will actually come along and assess you over the 6 weeks, and he will decide whether you're army material or not. Because you could think you were, but an awful lot of people think that the airmen, I've used to see it even with young lads like yourselves joining the FCA, coming in and being told what to do by somebody, and you don't, who are you, like, what are you going to do if I don't do it, and you will get that. So that kind of attitude, but there is fellas like. But basically, if you have just, I think, junior cert to leaving cert level will do you. To become an officer, it's a different thing altogether. You have to go to college, but you do your 3 years cadetship, and in the meantime you do your college as well. So that's a different thing altogether with them. But as I said, manpower shows you that anyway. They're the crowd. Or you can contact that Lone Barracks, and they send you the information. To be able to get on well with people, be able to mix, because like when you come into the army, you're in a platoon of maybe from 35 up to 40 people, men and women. When I joined, it was all just guys, so that was a little bit harder, because yourselves, like in class with all fellas, there's always going to be somebody you rub wrong. But when the females come in, everything had to change. So for starters, you have to be able to get on with everybody that's in your platoon. Try not to become a loner and not a fella that puts his hand up to answer questions all the time. But the main skill is to be able to mix and to take orders, as well as become a leader of a team, because that's what you're going to become anyway. You're going to become, like, your section will become a team, so you have to be able to work like the team. So that's basically what you would need. A small little bit of interest in what you're doing would be another skill. Like, some guys join the army because they think it's easy, they think it's handy walking, like, I'm going to get so much money every week just to hang around the barracks, but it isn't. Like, you can be asked to clean areas that you don't have, that's nothing to do with the army. You wouldn't be asked to sweep the square. They're things that they're all storylines, but you could be asked to wash down trucks, you could be asked to clean weapons that are not yours, but like your own personal, have a personal interest in it. Don't go down thinking that I'll do this and give it a go. Like, even though when you do join, you sign a contract for 5 years, and during those 5 years you have to progress to either one trip overseas or to try and get promoted. If you don't, you're gone. So it's a 5-year contract you're actually signing, but they can get rid of you within 6 weeks. But if you go on over the year, it costs you money to get out. So that's one of the things. Like, it's not one of these ideas that you put your name down and sign and then go, sure, it'll be grand. Because you could end up even though you could live here in Gort, but you could end up in Athlone, or you could end up in Cork or Dublin. Very seldom you'll be sent to the east, but you know, you could end up in the Curragh. It's a long way to be, you know, if you're, especially if you like the comforts of home. You know, because sitting in a billet at night can be a little bit daunting, and you get, if you're not a fella that mixes, you know, but you've everything down there. Don't forget that you've training facilities. You know, they'll do everything to keep you occupied for your 16 weeks. I'd say mostly just to make sure that you work as a team and not let things get to you. You know, if you have a problem, talk about it. You know, if things bother you, talk about it. Don't just think, you know, that, because the army becomes your family. Even though you have a family outside, the army is your family, and you are on call 24 hours a day. Like, so, you know, that's when you see something on the television that's like you saw now at the moment with the floods, you know you're going to be called. The army are on call, so you know, you just need to be ready, but just don't take it too seriously. You know, don't think that you're, you know, like what kind of man in what they call it, born identity. You know, you don't have to go. You're not a killing machine, but just that you have skills and you have been trained to kill. So, you know, like try and use it to your advantage. I'd say that's the main challenge, anyways, just to work as a team and not become a loner and try and mix with people. I think anyway. That would be my answer.